All right. Hey, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to our Sunday gathering for Scally Chektanot's Legacy. I'm super excited today to have John with us, which we're going to get to in a minute. We'll go around and do some quick hellos. Let's go ahead and check in. Oh, wow, that looks different. Deb Cruz, our common. Wasn't expecting that. Let's start with you, Deb Cruz. How are you? Besides changing things up, what's going on?
It's starting to pick up and get crazy. So we're gonna get ready for this next year, next 4 years. So
yeah. Christina, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to be with all you people on and off the screen. Hear what John has to say. Thank you, John, for coming.
Super grateful for that. Deborah, it's good to see your beautiful face on here.
Hello, my sweet, beautiful souls. I am just sneaking my head out of hibernation a little bit here to support John Carlos. And like Deb Cruz, I am hibernating, building my energy for what's coming down the pike, because it's going to take all of us together to create these miracles.
Yeah, it really, really is. Let's see. Alma, how are you?
Hi. Yeah, even here in sunny Key West, I can relate to that hibernation phase thing. For some reason, I'm feeling the same, like the energy needs to be, collected for the big something that's going to happen. But grateful for the notorious JCF being here today. Thanks for taking time out of the busy holidays to be with us. Looking forward to the updates.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alma. And Mr. Howard?
I, too, am looking forward to the notorious JCF entertaining us today. It's a normal gray, drizzly day in the Northwest here, and it's just absolutely beautiful. We have some whales, some T's in the neighborhood, T-137s an hour ago down in Puget Sound. And there's other whale news to report, but we'll get to that later. So good morning, everyone.
Yay. Well, let's go ahead and do this. Let's introduce John. For those that don't know John Carlos Frey, director of Snake and the Whale. I know you guys know because everyone's commenting. They're so excited to hear an update from you. We had John on September of last year, and then again in June of this year, where the film was very close to being finished. Anything you want to say before we show the trailer?
No, that's probably a good way to start.
Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to show you guys this the website as well, and then I'm going to sneak over here and scroll on down, and let's check this out. Are you guys seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go.
Praying to you, apologizing, Scalicia, apologizing what we've done to your daughter, what we've done to your water, what we've done to your salmon. It's hard to sometimes talk about her because I had visions of her out there and it wasn't meant to be. Ancestors called her home. She went home.
My name is John Carlos Frey, and I'm an investigative journalist. I was asked by a group of concerned residents to come to the Pacific Northwest and find out why the only group of killer whales in all the world's oceans, right here in this region, are close to extinction, and what might be done to save them.
Could it happen? That's the wrong question. Is it happening? It's happening right now.
I quickly found out that scientists, engineers, and experts of all kinds are being silenced by powerful lobbyists and politicians.
Our report concludes that in order to give the best possible chance of restoring salmon, we'd need to breach the lower Snake River dams.
What are the status of the salmon runs on the lower Snake River?
All of the runs on the lower Snake are either threatened or endangered.
They are improving. They are improving.
But our recent
this process was never about getting results for endangered salmon. It was a reckless pursuit of an activist agenda.
The moment I started poking around, someone tried to silence me.
I just want you to know you're hanging out with the wrong group. They're all full of shit. They all lie. They don't know what they're talking about. And you should not be following their lead. Fuck off.
The caller clearly disguised their voice, and the phone number was untraceable. It doesn't take a journalist to figure out I'm on the right track.
I'm muted.
Wow.
Do that. Saying brilliant things and then I'm muted. No, that just that trailer gets you. Wow, John, is it done? Film's done?
The film is done. The film is in the can, as they say. We have spent the latter part of this year working to join with other forces, international forces, national forces, people who are concerned with the issue at hand, trying to build not necessarily grassroots, but really trying to build a campaign of a coalition, so to speak, so that when the film gets released, that it's not just the film being watched by people, that there's actually some power behind it. So I'm not at liberty to say who the organizations are right now, but they are national and international in scope, only because we haven't had the meetings and we haven't signed any sort of a deal yet. But all of that's in the works. The film is finished. We have reached out to the appropriate parties to get us off the ground with a bang. We are talking to large distribution outlets and networks. All of that is lined up. I'm sorry to be so vague. I would say within the next month, those details will crystallize. We'll have some deals in place, and hopefully I'll be able to come back in and saying, this is the date we're going to release the film. These are the groups, and we're ready to go. We want to do this early next year. That is the goal. That's the way that we're moving. So all of these things take time. People have to watch the film. They have to decide whether they want to support it. There's always a large group of people that need to be approved to approve such large endeavors. If you think of films like The Cove, which was a film about the slaughter of dolphins in Japan, if you think about even years ago, Blackfish, any film that had a really big punch and raised awareness to the degree where things were changed as a result, that's what we're trying to do before the film is released. We're trying to build a coalition first, then get the pieces together. The release of the film, it's not the easy part, but it's easy to get people to watch the film. It's a different thing to get the film to make a difference. So those are the pieces that we're trying to put in place first, and that has taken some time. So we're pretty close. We're pretty close to announcing everything, hopefully within the next month. That's the goal.
Wow. That's really, let me unmute people because I have people muted. That's really big news because we've been waiting for this. And more importantly, the Southern residents have been waiting for this. And so thank you, John, for coming on to give us an update. I know, like you said, in a month we may have more, which I really hope. We're all going into this new year, like we were talking ahead of with some reservations, but this is something that I don't know. I was reading through a bunch of quotes. I was reading through a bunch of Ken's quotes, Howard, actually, and really just over the last couple of days, and just really how important it is to get this in front of the largest group of people that we can possibly, the largest audience, and the soonest and fastest, because these animals need that salmon.
Yeah,
Howard.
Yeah, right. Well, Ken went all in, way beyond his comfort zone to speak up for reaching those dams. He did, public talks at meetings, and he got a grant for billboards on I-5, 4 very stark, very high impact billboards. And it cost him because he got a lot of flack back, and it was not where was really comfortable being, because he was the objective scientist, the field researcher, and for him to step out into that advocacy role, he some people thought he was working with the wrong people, or he was saying more than he should. And so he wanted to celebrate the success and just show that it can work, and now we can see that. Now it's on the Elwha, the Chinook and the steelhead are coming back. They're in good numbers. They're recolonizing the upper reaches. It's a fantastic restoration of the Elwha River, and of course the Klamath. We can talk about the Klamath a lot. It's just such an amazing success story that they're coming back. 6,000 Chinook are back above the Iron Gate Dam, that lower dam, which is not that low. It's, I don't know what, 100 miles or so from the ocean, but it's it's beyond where they could ever go before, and now they are. So there's just so much potential success here. We've just got to get those dams breached to be able to see that. So this is a really important step to do that.
Yeah, it's huge. I kind of have some personal questions about just the process through with the film. So we knew where you were when you came on. This was before there was a funder, a big funder for the remaining amount. We had just started the GoFundMe, and then you were in, though. You were all in about this cause. And then when we talked to you in June towards the finish, but I'm wondering if you could just take people that maybe weren't on before, or just to kind of let us know, like, how was this process for you personally, John? From like the time you started, you mean you knew what you were getting into, but then you probably learned so much through the process. I wonder if you could share a little bit about what that's been like for you.
Yeah, it's been. Thank you for that, and thank you, Howard. It's been an eye-opening experience, but I've always been the kind of journalist who picks the underdog stories. That's just what I prefer, and that's the power of media can do something about. Well, maybe just step back for a second. This is a story, I think, about Toki, about Toki's family, about the dams, that should be front page news nationally. This is an issue that should be of concern to all of us, that there is a group of killer whales that are going to be extinct. We should all know that, at least. That should be information. Our media system is broken. It's not front page news. It's not national news. It's not international news. So when I was approached to see if we could raise money to make this film, this is the kind of story I thought needed to see the light of day. I know that most people in the Pacific Northwest, or those that are concerned about Toki's family, know about this, but the vast majority of our population knows nothing. And that's why we decided to take this on. And I know when we take on these kinds of stories and these kinds of ideas, that it's always a fight. It's a fight to raise the money. It's a fight to get the film done. As you saw in that trailer, I was threatened. I could care less about that. People are going to lie when the film comes out. They're going to trash me. They're going to trash the film. It's going to be a slog. Those dams are in place for over 50 years for a reason, because moneyed interest and people in power have wanted them to stay in place. So we're up against a lot, and I've known that, but I also know the power of media, and I know the power of a large population of people that can make a difference. The thing I didn't say first off is that we are working behind the scenes, not to get this film out just at a few film festivals, which it probably will be, which is great, but we're trying to get this film out in front of millions of people. That's the goal. We want to raise awareness across the country and internationally. We don't want to just have this film preached to the converted. What the film does is raise awareness about the devastation that these dams are causing, and directly related to the Southern residents. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, that the Southern residents will survive if those dams come down, period. The science has been proven for decades, so we don't need to relitigate the science. So those kinds of things about going after government entities. This is the Army Corps of Engineers. These are members of Congress. This is NOAA. These are people who are entrenched in keeping those dams in place. It's going to be a slog. So I think I took it on. I see my life as a journalist kind of like a firefighter. I'm the kind of silly person who will run towards the burning building instead of away from it. So I'm ready. I'm ready for that fight, and we're all getting prepped in the right way so that when this does happen, we're going to pack a good punch.
That's awesome. Thank you. Howard, are we going to say something?
Well, just that I am so thankful to you, John, for doing that, for taking that on and facing it head on. And it's an adventure because you don't know what's going to be the rebuttals, you could say. But you've got science and you've got your all of our hearts behind you. I mean, that's what motivated Ken. He cared about those whales. He cared about Southern residents, and he cared about Toki, and he wanted to help them. He tried to sound that alarm for 20 years. If we don't get more salmon in their habitat, they're going to go extinct, and they're still on that trajectory. So I really appreciate what you're doing to bring that out and help them have more salmon.
I also think, it's not the right thing to say as a journalist because I'm supposed to be fact-based, but I think the whales are talking.
Mm-hmm.
The whales are speaking. They're saying it's time. There's not time to waste here. We need to do this now, or we're all going to watch their demise. We're going to witness right in front of our eyes the extinction of a pretty amazing population of whales that you all know personally. So I don't know what that says about our society or about the environment or about what we care about as being important, but I don't think I could stomach that. I don't think I could stomach watching that. So whatever we have to do, I'm in. So, even if it is a battle, that's okay. We're on the right side of this.
John Carlos, I think you just must have read a message that's on my heart with what you said about the whales, because they are speaking. Ocean Sun coming into Penn Cove.
Right.
Tahlequah having a baby right after having Phoenix. And the baby is a girl. Now we have 3 generations of female Quathomachin that were standing up and speaking. So when this movie comes out, that's the only thing I would ask, is that all of us 2-leggeds stand up behind these beings in a good way, because they are speaking. And it's 3 generations of females. So that's magic.
It's 100%, Deborah. And what we were saying the other day when we were having a conversation is, they are speaking. They are telling us something, but are we listening? And I think we hear the word extinction and we hear those things and we hear them so often that it's almost like we're immune to them and it's just a word. That's insane. And one of the quotes that Ken had said that I was reading over the last few days is, when they are gone, it is forever. And you can hear that differently. You know what I mean? It is forever, people. It's not something we can wait on and see if it happens or if we lose a few more or whatever. Like that's it. And I know that doesn't sound very, we talk about our words have power and we don't want to talk about, when they are gone. But the way things are going, there's that writing is on the wall, and this film has the opportunity to put that in people's faces. Like, here it is. Here's what's happening. Here's what's going to happen. And here's why it's happening, which is crap. And then, and then at the end, like, what can you do about it? And what can we stand with? And you do have the science behind you. And I just want to add what's so special to my heart. And I've said this before, John, is that you include culture, which is so important. So it's not just the science, it's the science and the culture and our hearts, like Howard was saying, and our, and the activists and the, just standing for something that's right. So I just thank you for putting all of that in this film. It's all in there.
it's a strange place to live your life in the middle of propaganda and fact, sort of that line between lies and the truth, or fact and fiction. That's sort of where I have chosen to live my life. So who do you call out? You need to call out the liars and the propagandists and those that have interests other than the truth at heart. I think that's also important, that the public knows that they're being lied to. The public might think that their electricity bills are going to go through the roof, or that somehow we're not going to have enough water for crops, or whatever it is that the propagandists are saying. It's important for me to also tell people that they're being lied to. There's no reason that those dams need to stay in place, and there's no reason that the southern residents should be starving if the dams are the cause of that. Those dams can come down like the Klamath did. There's no reason for them to stay in place. So that, to me, I think is also something that hits us at our gut. I don't like to be lied to by my government. I don't like to be lied by corporate greed. I don't like the fact that there's a population of sentient beings that are dying as a result of, a power grab. So it's important for us all to know that this issue is personal, and we can do something about it. I can't watch these whales go extinct, of course, but we're actually at a place right now where we can do something about it. So that's what I'm hoping that the film helps to do, is raise awareness enough that pisses people off, that they're willing to write a check, sign a petition, demonstrate, march, call their representatives, whatever it is that we need to do to push this over the top, where, usually when people get upset, they'll take action. So I'm hoping that they do, and they realize that there's a big snow job going on right now with regard to those dams. And even, I've even heard some people who support keeping the dam saying that the salmon are doing better because of the dams. I don't know how you square that one. That we wouldn't have salmon runs if it wasn't for the dam. So I mean, that's how crazy the lies are. So I'm really pushing for facts here, and the facts are so on our side, and I'm hoping that people see that.
Yes, Alma. Oops, you're muted, Alma. I can't unmute you for some reason.
All that brilliance was just lost. No, I'm just saying thank you for being the beacon of truth. I mean, for standing up and having the courage to stand up to these people that are lying to the public and consistently lying when they're confronted with the truth. And people need to see this. People need to understand what's really happening. So thank you for running into this particular fire and standing up for the salmon and the orcas and the 137 plus other species that will also be better off when those dams come down.
Imagine restoring that ecosystem. Imagine a free flowing river, a wild river. Imagine the trees and the birds and the fish and everything else in the ocean that lives off of that. I mean, it's time to start putting Mother Nature back together again, as opposed to destroying her. So I'm all for that.
Yeah. Howard knows a lot about that rewilding.
Well, yeah, that's what we're doing on the Elwha at the Balcom Big Salmon Ranch, and it's coming right along. The elk have been coming in herds of 75 or 80 every couple of days. They just swarm over the entire upper about 20 acres. They're everywhere. But I also wanted to say that conspicuous by her refusal to talk to you was Senator Murray. And as much as I appreciate her as a senator, I think she's been wonderful throughout her career. And she's also a neighbor. She just spent Christmas about 2 miles, maybe 5 miles away from us, up the coast of Whidbey Island. So it's nothing, no kind of personal animosity or anything, but she's got to get off the dime on the dams and do something. She is really a critical key blocking point right now. I mean, she is really the probably single most important person that needs to come around and approve of the breaching of the dams. Senator Cantwell as well, but she is a junior senator, so I don't think she'll get out in front of the senior Senator Murray. So I think Senator Murray is key. Then the entire delegation from Washington, the governor, every other politician would then come around and see the light, if she would, because I think that's just so important. So I appreciate your persistence to try to get her on camera, but we need to work on that. And I'm working on a letter right now that we will include in an outreach right after the first of the year, I think, and we'll get that available for people to send that letter and amend it to your taste. And let's flood Senator Murray with good information about why she should breach those dams. And it's all in The Snake and the Whale. So we could just send her that and say, watch this, and you'll see why we need to breach those dams.
I'm hoping, Howard, that millions of people join your call to her. I think that's when politicians act, when they have outside pressure, when they have constituency pressure, when their name starts to be thrown in the mud a little bit, when there's pressure to do something that originally maybe was unpopular. Keeping the dams in place brings a lot of money to the Pacific Northwest. Patty Murray has built her career on appropriations. She has sent hundreds of millions, billions of dollars for hatcheries, for restoration projects, for river projects. I mean, she gets reelected on keeping those dams in place. If they become unpopular all of a sudden, and constituents and the population at large starts calling her and saying, we want those dams down, she'll do that as well. There'll be enough pressure. So I'm hoping that if we raise awareness high enough, wide enough, that people will call. I'm hoping that's one of our pinpoint areas that we focus on when the film gets released. That's what we're working on now, is that coalition building, is that sort of action steps that we need to take. And one of them would be pointed right at her, right at Patty Murray. Sign this petition or call her office, whatever we decide is going to be the plan of action, but she's going to be called out to do the right thing. We can't waste any more time. And you're right, she holds a lot of the cards. If she wanted those dams down, I think that she could probably go a long way to getting them down.
I believe so. I think that would move the Washington power sources and I don't know what we'll get from any administration in the next 4 years, but the contingent in Washington is so sensitized to orcas right now. With little baby J61 being born, but there's a lot of concern about that young one. And Linda Mapes at Seattle Times just wrote a great article that really summed up the whole situation with the population and the concerns with that little baby. Maybe born premature, didn't look all that strong. So a lot of concern there. And the whole region is so tuned in to orcas and to how they're doing that I think they will see that it's been brought out many times, but your film really ties it together with the southern residents and the dams, the snake and the whale. I mean, it really is all right there. So that's the story that needs to be told. But you're right. I mean, there's been about $25 billion spent on maintaining the dams, on mitigating the damage and upkeep for the locks and for, all the other expenses that come with the dams. But, those are not just expenses. They're also an infusion of money into the region that is on a steady basis. And I think that's the main actual reason that people want to keep the dams, is they want to keep that gravy train coming. So
except for it's our tax dollars. We're paying for that. That's the thing. Especially if you're a Washingtonian, you're literally paying for these orcas to go extinct. So I mean,
that's the right way to say it. You are paying for the extinction. You are paying for the demise of wild salmon. Your utility bill is paying for the destruction of that environment. It's absolutely the right way to say it.
Salmon killing dams.
It just doesn't make sense. Eileen said earlier in one of the comments when you were talking about like, yeah, more people should be pissed off about this. Like, do you know, and she's like, I don't understand why more people aren't up in arms. Here's what and it's just my thought, and it kind of answers something Marcia said too. There are so many focus groups who care about these orcas. There are so many focus groups that care about these whales. And I think we'd be surprised at the amount of people, even in the Pacific Northwest, and in Seattle and Washington, that don't really know, like plain out, like you said, Christina, you are paying for this. I think people don't know that. And then even if we do focus in on that area, like it can't just be that area. If we're sharing the information with the same groups of people that already know it, like this has to get seen massive, and like Debbie just said, CNN International picked up the new birth of the whale, like and they just had an announcement on that because Tahlequah brought that to our attention for 17 days, and so people are, so right now this just happened, the birth just happened, like everything seems to be lining up. This film needs to get out there and not just inform the people in that small corner, like it has to go huge. One of Marcia's questions is what venue would be best, what venue would be best to watch it, and I'm not going to say any particular names, but I say
we can say the deal, but we're shooting for Netflix. We're shooting for 52 million households in the United States and almost twice as many internationally. So, if we could start out there, that's the goal. That's the place that we would like to be, and that's what we're working on. We don't have that yet, but we're getting pretty close. So that's the size of the audience we want to reach. We think if we raise enough awareness and people understand that the dams are obsolete and a joke, and that they can come down, that will be enough to get us to push hard enough for those. The problem that we've all had for 50 years is that the people in power and the people with money have controlled the message at a high level. They can put out ads. They can tell people, scare people, so I can look on television in the Pacific Northwest and see ads from Bonneville Power saying that the dams need to be in place. How are you going to combat that? How are you going to combat that idea that your electricity is going to go out in the summer? So we're hoping to raise enough awareness where people know that all of those things are lies. And that's pretty clear in the film, and that's on purpose. And I'm sure there's going to be propaganda, but I think we're all ready to push this through, because the through line through all this is Toki's family. Right. That's why we're doing this. That's the only reason that we're doing this. And I do believe, sorry to be pessimistic here, I think we got one shot left. We don't have 10, 20 years left. We got one big shot here. We got to do it now. We just have to do it now. Otherwise, it is going to be too late. And those are Ken's words too,
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I like that, a lot of people are saying like we should start a piss off list for people to read, but no, we should, and that's kind of what we were asking Howard and to like a talking points, it's always good to have talking points for folks so that they understand. So when you're out talking to people, you can hit those short, very factual, big points that people need to know. That is going to piss them off, because you want that, right? You want them to understand it's truth. They're not making it up. It's the truth, and they should be aware of it. So having that talking point list would be really good, so that people know what to say when they're, and that's kind of what Howard is talking about in his letter that he's writing. We can amend it, we can change some things, but it's going to have the key points in it. And those are just key points, not just for her to read, for everyone to read, so they can tell her the same thing. And then knowing that there's going to be backlash when you see it in the trailer, when Rogers is like talking over, and they're trying to say it and then just talking over it. They're getting better. Like they're going to stick to that, and they're going to say whatever they can to try to push that through.
Imagine, Annette, a politician lying. I mean, I can't imagine a politician saying something for money, saying something for votes, saying something for power. They don't care about the Southern residents. They care about their own ass getting reelected and making sure their constituents keep voting for them and keep donating to their reelection campaign. So it doesn't matter. They're willing to lie, and they're willing to sell the Southern residents and wild salmon under the bus. I mean, they're just willing to just be slimy politicians, and that's what we're up against. So, you know, I'm sorry to speak so frankly, but that's the issue here. I mean, the people, the engineers who ran the dams say they should come down. The fish biologists who work for the Army Corps of Engineers say the dam should come down. The whale biologists say the dam should come down. I mean, who are you going to believe? A politician? I'm not. I'm not. I'm smarter than that. We know what their motive is. Anyway, I could go on. I will be back if you'll have me when I have some real details. At the beginning of this year, we have a couple of big meetings, and we're talking about international organizations like Greenpeace, Sea Shepherd, Patagonia, these very large, far-reaching groups that will get behind the film, get behind the release of the film, and also the campaign. All of these large organizations would get behind the campaign of breaching the dams. So it would be a concerted effort along with the population who gets to watch the film on Netflix. Those are the goals. That's what we're working for, and we're very close.
That is so awesome.
Great.
Thank you, John. Yes, I know you got to go. If you got to hop off, that's cool. I'll show people the website a little bit and just, you know, let them know that more is to come. But thank you for saying that and sharing that. Those are the organizations we want behind it. Big, huge organizations that know how to do these huge things to get out there and spread awareness. So thank you so much, John. You are welcome anytime, but I look forward to hearing from you when there's some more updates.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Bye.
We promised John we would only keep him for half an hour or so, but wow. That's good.
Yeah, that's very promising.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hope he knows that Orca Network and the Center for Whale Research will back it too. We're not, you know, big national outreach organizations, but we'll definitely
You're the local experts.
Names into it.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are the local experts. So of course, I think this has the opportunity, guys, to, like, you know, everyone who's standing for, and I'm echoing, so I don't know why I'm echoing, but sorry, I'm echoing to myself. I don't know. This is an opportunity for everyone to get together. You know, everyone just focusing on them. Like he said, this is it. Like, we have one shot here. So everyone, you know, put everything aside and put all our efforts together into this one thing. This is an opportunity for everyone to come together. I know, yes, I'm going to have a big unity conversation, but it's true. This is a time for all of us to come together for them and to do whatever we can at whatever level we're at, whether it's local, whether it's your own social media, whether it's your, you have a big page, you know, or you belong to big groups. This is an opportunity for everyone to get behind this amazing film. And I just can't wait till it gets out. Marcia's like, sharing the film with Jane Goodall would be good. That would be really great. And again, if we can get this on Netflix or the largest streaming platform we could possibly get it on, everyone will see it. The politicians will see it. Of course, there's going to be a focus campaign for the politicians, you know, and all of that. So, you know, yeah, we're talking about hashtags. Mary, you guys are going to meet Mary here in a couple weeks, I think. Mary and Scott, and you know, Breach the Dam, Save Our Family. You guys, like, you know, Snake and the Whale. Start hashtagging it. And let's see, let me, I'll just put up the website real quick so you guys can take a look at it. More is to come on it. But for now, you know, you can share this. It's snakeandwhale.com, and start sharing this everywhere so that people start getting used to the word. They can go on there. They can watch the trailer. It talks about, are you guys seeing this, or am I just randomly talking? Yeah, you can. Okay. Exposing the truth. There's Ocean Sun on there. Thank you very much, Howard, for that picture. You know, because this is about her. There's some upcoming screenings and a couple of film festivals. So the Colorado Environmental Film Festival and Doc Utah International Film Festival. Those are the dates. There's not an action link on there yet, but there will be. And again, like, Howard, if you guys have ideas, share them. Start sending them, because you heard John say that, like, everyone's going to need to get behind this. So snakeandwhale.com, go ahead and start sharing that. And as soon as there are actions, they'll be on there. And let's just get it. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. And why? Just look what happened with the Klamath. We want to talk about that a little bit more, Howard. Let's get into that.
Oh, well, just to celebrate it, because I think, we know the facts. I don't, I'm not deep into the research on it, but, I've seen the basic results is 6,000 Chinook are above that dam that just was taken out, September. I mean, it's just barely come out, and already the salmon have found that river. The river has come back to life. The river is speaking to us, and the salmon are saying, "Yay, we have a river back." They're back to living in it and doing their miracles in that river because it's open. And that, to me, is just a huge story, way upstream too. And I read a quote where someone said, they said it would take 10 years. It took 10 days for the salmon to get up beyond the former dam sites. So they've overcome the propaganda, and now we're seeing the real natural life results, and it's coming back, and we have to celebrate that. It's a beautiful thing. And the same thing is on the Elwha. Right now, the Elwha is running real high. I'm sure the Klamath is too, because it's been so rainy here for the last month or two. The Elwha, I've seen videos, and it's higher than I have ever seen it. But this is not the time of the migration. There will be a lot of smolts in the river. I'm not sure what happens with all those smolts, except they have their ways. They know how to find the calm eddies on the side of the river and the protected places so they don't get washed out. So, nature knows how to handle a big rain. So I'm sure it'll be okay. But it's exciting to see on the Elwha and on the Klamath. And those two stories, plus, the obvious troubles that the southern residents are having, and we know why. We know it's just the lack of consistent salmon. They've had this great run of chum and maybe some other species in Puget Sound since the middle of October. October 19 was when J-Pod first came in, and they stayed over a month, and most of over a month. And that is a sort of it's a pulse. It's a nice big run of so-so salmon. Chum are not the biggest, and they're not the fattiest. But they're plentiful. Apparently plentiful enough that they could play with them and throw them on their heads and go around with them for a while. So that's a good sign. But it's very temporary. And it's not like it used to be with Chinook everywhere all the time. So that's what we need to get back to, is those big runs of Chinook. And of course, we have to take on the trawlers in Alaska. They're scraping the bottom. The bycatch of Chinook and of the base of the whole ecosystem is just horrific. And that needs to be stopped, basically. So that campaign is really coming up. We had David Bays on here, and he explained it. I hope we have him again.
He will be. He's traveling through the first of the year, which is this week. So he does plan to come back on. So that'll be really, really, really good to have him on, because there's several actions that can still happen. But this dam removal, man, we got to focus on this
Yeah.
big time for them. Beck had a good idea. Beck said all the universities that run marine biology and ecology courses need to be approached about the film. 100%. That absolutely, colleges need to be aware of that, and I think that would be good. Also, someone else said when we were saying about sharing Snake and the Whale, Eileen said pass this video around too. So if you guys share this today, people will have an idea of what that's about and can hear from John themselves. So yes, please share this wildly as well, because the more people that can get behind this and be prepared for this massive campaign that I think will be happening very soon, the better. As we got to do that, and then the proof, right? Christina sent me some videos. Let me show what Christina sent me a while ago.
Yeah.
Just proof on what this looks like when this happens. Here we go. Maybe I can figure out how to press play.
4 dams was removed from the Klamath River along the California-Oregon border, salmon were spotted in a tributary out of reach to the migrating fish for over a century. Klamath area tribes have fought for dam removal for decades, hoping to restore a healthy river and a once abundant food source. The estimated $450 million restoration project is still in its early stages, and there have been challenges. Draining of reservoirs earlier this year left over 1,000 acres of thick mud, trapping some animals, and sediment-clogged water that killed others. Restoration teams are spreading native seeds by hand and by air to revegetate the landscape, but progress has been hindered by wild horses eating the young plants. And residents who have lost a beloved lake are trying to adjust to a transformed landscape. To learn more about the largest river restoration project in U.S. history, watch the VOA News series, Klamath Undammed.
Good stuff. I also know someone on this screen who goes and plants native seeds, Deborah. So, it all helps. It all helps. You got anything to say, Deborah? No.
No, I was just giving myself a hands up because
I love it.
there is the feeling of planting baby trees and shrubs and stuff, knowing that it's going to be the future hideaway for a smolt or to stop erosion so that these big salmon can get back up. It's empowering. So truly blessed to be here to be able to plant a tree. But everybody else around the world can write a letter, and that's even more powerful. So
that's right. Write a letter, please, to President Biden. He's still the president for a few more days.
He's still the president. He did a lot of work over the Christmas, from what I've heard. Like, I don't even know how many bills he signed, and he did a lot of stuff in last week. And so it's not too late.
No, it's not too late, because you know what I just learned? I didn't know this about Miss Patty Murray, the lady who I've actually tried to approach and talk to too, and she has all her little bodyguards around her. She's the third in charge of the Senate. So we need to throw this in her face a little bit, is, woman, you got some power here and you're not using it. So everybody else's senators should be getting written to also, because hey, you got this going on in your own home territory. She's a powerful woman. She's not using that power in a good way.
Well, also the dams here are not nearly as dramatic as far as taking them down as either one of those dams. So, I mean, it's not like it's really easy, and we're going to get them down, and John Carlos is going to help us, and that's all that's happening. We're doing it, man. Yep, we're going to do it. So let's write letters to all of them.
I'm putting a link here from Peggy, because Peggy was, so what I just posted there, guys, that's from Peggy Oki, and then it includes a link as well. So the key sentences that we want to be able to make sure he reads, and reads often. So there's links, there's things we can do. This film, I mean, I think we're going to be following this here weekly because it's soon. And I really do feel that this is going to have a massive impact that everyone can get behind. I really do believe that when people learn about this, it's it is going to be like the horror of it, for those that don't know, and more people need to know about it. So spread away as you can. And yeah, I hope Netflix and Hulu, I hope everyone's, if anyone's going to fight, let them fight over it, like who's going to air it first, because it needs to get out there fast. It needs to get out there fast.
And what about the Tea Party, Howard? With all the
Well,
babies,
yes.
the whole, and that's like the whole proof. And I mean, the whole thing. Their babies are surviving. Their babies are thriving because they
Right.
have food. You know.
Right. There's your test case. It's like we have a laboratory right here. We have the two populations. One depends on salmon, the other depends on marine mammals, which are plentiful, and they are doing just great. Yeah, they just had a party, at least 40 of them, up off San Juan Island, and some of those are down here in Puget Sound today. So I guess, they had to break up the party eventually, but 40 of them, which is unheard of, almost. I mean, very rare for teas, because they can't hunt when they're in a big group like that. All the seals from miles around know what's going on, and they scatter. So they have to be very stealthy when they're hunting. So they were not stealthy. They were having a party. There was all kinds of chatter overnight on the lime kiln hydrophones, and a lot of aerial acrobatics, doing a lot of party stuff. So they play when the residents are away, and the residents have left the room now. They're either way up, probably J-Pod way up in Georgia Strait, and K's and L's out in the Pacific, or at the opening of the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So the T's have got the hood to themselves right now, and they were partying down. So it's good to see that too. And there's
a baby shower. They were having a baby shower. How many babies were there?
I have not gotten an update on the babies.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what they were celebrating. Yeah. There's a lot of culture that we don't know. I mean, as much as we know about residents, we really know less about the T's, about the bigs, because they're a little harder to see in big groups like that. They just don't come together that often, and they're usually very stealthy, run silent, run deep, and zigzag all over the place. It makes it really hard to keep track of them, but we're learning more about them, and they're very fascinating too. We'll have our Ways of Whales coming up January 25th on a Saturday. And I don't have the whole roster of speakers, but it'll be online as well as in person in Coopville. And I'll be telling the story of LPOD's return to Penn Cove, which it's right up there with August 17 and 23, the day before Toki died, off Lime Kiln, as to me, at the very least, an eye-opening educational moment, but really a sacred moment. I mean, for them, it had to be so intense. So I'll be talking about that. So was there another event that you had heard of coming up in January?
Yeah, I'm trying to get that loaded up real quick. I forgot we were going to do that. So
there isn't a location yet, but the location will be announced tomorrow. For anybody who's in Washington, there's going to be a protest.
Here, just put it. Yeah, there's so January 7th in Olympia, 9 a.m. Do you want to read it, Christina? Do you want me to read it?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So it says, hi, all you great salmon and orca warriors. This is the big one to finally put the nail in the coffin and keep the fish farms out and the disease, pollution, and escapes that pose such great danger to wild Chinook salmon and the southern resident killer whale recovery. Hope you can join us January 7th in Olympia, 9 a.m. Again, like Christina said, location to come. Wild Salmon Nation's going to serve breakfast at 7. Going to practice chants and messaging, and they're already making and printing 100 signs. We hope to see all the orca and salmon props, maybe some light words on the buildings, and some big blow-up salmon and orcas. Washington is poised to permanently adopt the executive order banning the commercial operation of net pens and become the first place in the world to successfully remove and permanently ban this industry from ever returning. On January 7th, 2025, the 6-member Board of Natural Resources, chaired by Washington's Commissioner of Public Lands, Hillary Franz, will cast a crucial vote on the proposed rule that, if approved, will cement the order into statute, preventing these facilities from returning and ensuring the protection of Puget Sound for future generations. Cook Agriculture and their allies are doing everything they can to influence the upcoming vote in a desperate attempt to return this polluting industry to Puget Sound. NOAA Agriculture Imperative, Washington Sea Grant, University Washington School of Agriculture and Fisheries Sciences. The Jamestown Sklallam Tribe and Cook Agriculture Global also desperately want to expand their latest Manchester Labs Frankenfish, the farmed version of our Western Pacific Coast native species, from their pilot fish net pen feed project. This is a long thing. Out into Puget Sound, the Straits of Juan de Fuca, in outside waters from Northern California to Nia Bay, and eventually into Alaska. We've come too far to let corporate interests undermine the incredible progress we've worked so hard to achieve. It's time to work together one final time to ensure Puget Sound continues to be protected far into the future. And then I also saw on something else, I think you sent me, the Board of Natural Resources meeting is January 7th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Let me put this up there so you guys can see what I'm saying.
Sorry it's so long, but it's really important because we got to get out of here. And if anybody can come, that's awesome.
So the Board of Natural Resources meeting shows the address there, and the meeting is open to the public. Show Natural Resources Building, 1111 Washington Street Southeast, Olympia, Washington, 98501. That's in building in the Natural Resources Building, room 172. So there's that. If we went too fast, feel free to come back. I'm going to add these links into the chat right now so that you guys can have those as well. Anything you want to say about those, Christina or Howard? Anybody?
Just that it's really important that we don't have fish farms in our oceans at all, but at least we can control it here if people come and be their voice. So
absolutely. And what's done in Washington has a big influence with what's done in BC, which still has some fish farms. A lot were removed around the Broughton Archipelago, but there's still some others, and they kill wild salmon. They make the normal corridors toxic zones and kills a lot of fish. So we've got to lead the way here.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm Deborah. Anything you want to say? I'm busy copying links, so you guys can help me out.
No, I don't have too much to add. I'm going to try really hard to go to that meeting, but I'm getting ready to go see the king tides are around the same exact time. So it's like, I'm going to do my best. Like I said, everybody, let's just do our hibernating, build your strength. We got big things coming in the future, and let's do this fight in a good way. That's how I would end today for myself, is let's just do this in a good way. The Quathulmachan are speaking. We got to listen, and we got to stand up with them. We really got to stand up with them. We can't give up. Never give up.
And have a positive attitude.
Yep, in a good way.
Yep.
In a good way. Thank you. Alma, anything before we close? Oops, you're muted.
She's muted.
Sorry. Yeah, just all good stuff here, bringing awareness to all the things that need to be addressed. Salmon are the real freaking heroes because they provide so much to so many species in our world that we care about. So all we can do to save the salmon, especially the Chinook. So let's breach the dams, stop those Alaskan trawlers, stop that fish farming, get that film out. So thank you, John Carlos, for being here today, and thank you all. I love you all.
Love you all. Deb Cruz, any final words from you?
Well, I got to add to Alma's list. So I've got this put up, and the links and stuff are put on the Facebook page. There is going to be, as a part of the lawsuit regarding the Snake River dams, there was an agreement to do an updated and adequate EIS. That process will be beginning here in January, February timeframe. So be on the lookout for that. You'll be able to get your comments in, and hopefully we can do some swaying at that point too. So we have a couple avenues to go through or to work through for that. As far as the hydrogen facility at Cherry Point, which is at the old Intelco site, there is a virtual public meeting on January 22nd, and 2 in-person meetings will be held in February, in which there will be commenting on the hydrogen facility that they're talking about putting in here, just short of Lummi. So those 2 things are coming up in January and February, and hopefully we can get some more going here. And I'm looking at Deborah Ellers. Yes, the recreational survey. Okay, Washington State the legislature set aside several pots of money for studies to be done: energy study, transportation study, recreation study, and the ag water study. The transportation study has already been, and I think I posted this stuff up last week, has already been done, and the recreation study is still ongoing. So if you haven't gone in and commented on that, I think Ma and a couple other people talked about that last week.
Yep.
Even if you've never been there, go in as if you were a tourist and a visitor and what you would like to see. And I'm looking through the notes to see if anybody else has anything going on. Nope, I think that's it.
Okay.
And I don't know about the ag water. That study is still being worked on, and I don't know if there's public comment on that yet. So, and energy is going to be the last one, because that's going to be involving BPA to the dams, Bonneville Power.
Thank
But all
you.
of those are supposed to be out like this summer or something like that.
Thanks, Deb Cruz. That's a lot of good info. We all know what we're up against, and we all have an idea of what that's going to look like in the upcoming years. However, there's still hope. There's still things we can do. We won't stop. If there's a big fear in front of us, I know what this group does. We just band together to get through it, and that's what we'll keep doing with all of these things. Right now, I think my big focus is going to be on getting this film out. I think that will be the key to all of these other things when people see it, because people are visual, right? They want to watch a movie, then they'll start to learn more about that. They're going to learn about all these other reasons why it's important and how that goes into all these other areas that we're talking about with trawlers and all that kind of stuff. I really see this as the door to open this up for more and more folks to learn about and get involved in these things that we got to do. So I just appreciate all of you so much. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching. There was probably around 50 some people that watched live today. So just keep sharing it. If all of you or all of those who watch live can just share it, it gets out to more and more people and let people learn about what we're doing. Share the snake in the well, reach the dam, save her family, hashtag anything you want, and we'll link it. But we'll end with the trailer. Unless, Howard, if you have anything final to say before we close today.
Just breach the dams and save Toki's family.
Yeah. All right. Love you guys. You guys have a beautiful day. We'll see you next week. Yeah. All right.
Praying to you, apologizing, Scalicia, apologizing what we've done to your daughter, what we've done to your salmon. It's hard to sometimes talk about her because I had visions of her out there and it wasn't meant to be. Ancestors called her home. She went home.
My name is John Carlos Frey, and I'm an investigative journalist. I was asked by a group of concerned residents to come to the Pacific Northwest and find out why the only group of killer whales in all the world's oceans, right here in this region, are close to extinction, and what might be done to save them.
Could it happen? That's the wrong question. Is it happening? It's happening right now.
I quickly found out that scientists, engineers, and experts of all kinds are being silenced by powerful lobbyists and politicians.
Our report concludes that in order to give the best possible chance of restoring salmon, we'd need to breach the lower Snake River dams.
What are the status of the salmon runs on the lower Snake River?
All of the runs on the lower Snake are either threatened or endangered.
They are improving.
They
are improving.
But our recent
this process was never about getting results for endangered salmon. It was a reckless pursuit of an activist agenda.
The moment I started poking around, someone tried to silence me.
I just want you to know you're hanging out with the wrong group. They're all full of shit. They all lie. They don't know what they're talking about. And you should not be following their lead. Fuck off.
The caller clearly disguised their voice, and the phone number was untraceable. It doesn't take a journalist to figure out I'm on the right track.